Or is this part here? What they call the tang is the metal going from one end to the other. It's somewhat important to have metal in the back of your knife going through the handle. It's good for the weight. This was what we used to use the Happy Chef knife. And especially for learning to use a knife, it should be well balanced so it holds well in your hand. You're going to be holding the knife right where I have it. So to have a good balance on it, it's going to hold better as you cut with it. Now, the knives you have are forged knives. Pretty much means each knife was made independently. So that knife was poured hot metal and then out of a mold and then they sharpened it. Some of them are pounded. You can't afford those knives usually. But so it's forged. So hot metal into a frame, then they sharpen it. The other type of knife is your typical kitchen knife. Your NSF kitchen knife. I can feel this one. It probably goes, the metal probably goes this far down into the handle. It's all plastic. Very cheap knife. This is stamped. Now when I say stamped is they take out a piece of metal like this and it goes through a press and pop. They knock the knife out and then they sharpen it from one piece of metal. So you always want to get a forged knife that's so much better. These stamped ones, well, they're no good. They're really crap knives. It's what your typical kitchen knives are. Our kitchen knives here I refuse to have sharpened because they're crap. You won't be using the kitchen knives here. I had a Culinary 3 student, honestly, last class. I saw her. She couldn't make pico de gallo, the diced up tomato, because she was using a dull knife. These don't hold an edge. They're just dull. And just in how I am, I grabbed the knife. I said, where did this come from? The cage, I didn't bring my knives today. I threw it in the garbage. So one less knife in the kitchen. But you're going to take care of your knives and learn how to use them right, and they're going to stay sharp. Have a bunch of different varieties of them, and you can pretty much just by looking tell value of a knife. German steel and Japanese steel are awesome. The problem is like a Henkel or a Wusthof. They're sounds like German steel, stamped out in China for their low-line stuff. Even the Mercer, good German steel for the knives you have. Some of their lower-end stuff, it's stamped, not even forged, comes out of China, sharpened, put, especially Henkel's done it like crazy. And they put Henkel on it, and then they sell it to the dumb Americans, and then you'll get a $20, $25 chef knife. A real chef knife should have some value to it. It should be $50. That's a good quality knife. All of these are stamped. That's your typical kitchen knife. They're kind of crap. Now this, I keep saying, chef's knife, French knife, any of those names for that kind of knife. This is your basic utility knife. This is what for Culinary 1 and 2, this is the knife you're going to be using all the time. This is what you're using for knife skills. I'll look through. I didn't sharpen anything up. I'll leave that one out. And I'll use this is, you couldn't get any duller than this. I'll sharpen that one. Find me a tomato. Run it. It should be in dry storage, but I think in the fridge. Grab me 2 tomatoes. There's a few Japanese type knives that I love. This is my Santoku. I use this for everything. The ones I have at home, I buy out of Chinatown, New York City, and they have a wooden handle on them. I bought one that was a Dexter Russell, but they're really Chinese steel, should be cheap, but they hold a razor blade edge. I like how it feels in my hand. These are great knives for utility cutting. You're not using them until Culinary 3 in here. I wanted you to get used to that. Once you're good with this one, I think this is this is a great utility knife to use. This is a crappy variation that somebody didn't want enough that they left it here. This one won't keep an edge and it won't hold an edge on. I had mentioned something on one of the slides when about carbon steel. Carbon steel, guys, is this stuff that starts to look rusty on the outside. And I thought I had another one, but the cool thing, there's good and bad about carbon steel. One is it oxidizes and changes color. Carbon steel is not good to cut something delicate like lettuce with. They tell I've read that you're supposed to rip all your legs. That really comes from them not using the high carbon steel or the stainless steel knives. Just this basic carbon steel, the oxidation on it deteriorates the legs. So this kind of knife is bad for lettuce. It sharpens and holds an edge better than stainless does. These are really good knives to keep sharp, and they sharpen very, very easily. We like these knives. It doesn't work for everything. They don't use these much anymore. Now they use the high carbon steel like the surgical instruments. Same kind of thing. They have like the 660 high carbon steel. Stainless steel, guys, are the worst kind of knives to buy. Stainless steel sounds good. It doesn't hold an edge and it doesn't sharpen very well. It's very strong steel. You can't have really super strong steel because it doesn't sharpen. It's not pliable. You can chip a knife. The stainless steel knives chip very easily. Seeing if these cheap ones say stainless, but stainless is no good. So ours are high carbon. That's the better type. It does say high carbon, no stain, very steel. So if it on the German knives, if it doesn't say German steel on it, it's a piece of crap knife. So know that Henkel knives will not say Chinese steel on them. They just won't say German steel on them. So got to be careful with those. So chef's knife, a lot of, and I brought out an oyster knife just because I have seen people try and come with that. The clam knife at least is logical because it looks like a paring knife, but I've seen some trying to cut with that, which really made me laugh. Paring knives, got your typical cheap kitchen paring knife you can buy for $4. Often these are really good. These work well and they're kind of disposable. When they get dull, you can throw them out. Who cares? It's $3-4, and they don't last very long in the kitchen anyway because they're easy to steal. This is the Next Day Gourmet from U.S. Foods. It says Japanese steel on it. I use these all the time. These are great. They don't have any tang, so they don't have any metal in it, but for a paring knife, they're great. Don't really, I honestly, I don't know when the last time, I don't use paring knives. It's just that they don't work. They're not big enough for a fish, and I don't use them a lot. $4 paring knife, $14 paring knife. You can buy $40, $50 paring knives if you're buying like a Global or a ceramic. So they can get expensive, they'll last forever, they're good. This is a nice commercial one, I think that one's out of my kit. Now these guys are, they call them bird's beak knives. We're going to call them tournée knives because that's the name I use. They're really used for garnishing and for tournéing stuff. Tournéing doesn't happen a lot in the real world. It's going to be the hard part of your knife skills. If you're good, get good at tournéing. When I came up in the French restaurants, I used to have to tournée every day. It sucked. You can tournée with a regular paring knife. It does work a lot better with a slightly curved knife. I like the one in the motion kit. I think that's a good one. And so that's the tournée. And you can see a good knife, the metal is going the whole way through. I'm not sure how good this Mercer one is. I know this paring knife, when I got it out of the kit, all the knives said full tang, so it's just a different type of handle outside of the metal. So that is a really good one.